Hello children, welcome back to chemistry session. In previous session we have seen solubility of solids in liquids and solubility of gas in liquids. In today's session we are going to talk about vapor pressure of liquid solutions. Let us start today's session, children. Vapor pressure of liquid solutions. In session 1 we have seen different kind of solutions, that is solid solutions, liquid solutions and gaseous solutions. In solid solutions the physical state of solvent is in solid state. In liquid solution the physical state of solvent is in liquid state. That's why we have three types of liquid solutions. Liquid solutions, solvent is in liquid state, solute may be solid or liquid or gaseous state. Liquid solutions, solvent is in liquid state. Solute may be in either gaseous state or liquid state or solid state. Such kind of solutions are called liquid solutions. In earlier session, in previous session, we have seen solubility of gas in liquids. So we don't discuss solubility of gas in liquids because we have already seen solubility of gas in liquids. We have also discussed in this class. And in this session, we are going to talk about liquid solutions and liquid solid solutions. That means solubility of liquid and liquid solutions and solubility of solid and liquid solutions. Here, when we talk about liquid solutions, these two substances we will consider binary solution, children. Binary solution means a solution contains two components. The two components of the solution are solute and solvent. Solute and solvent. Here, this solute and solvent may or may not be water nature. For convenience, let us consider the solute as well as solvent. These both components are water nature. So these both are volatile compounds. Both solute and solvent are volatile components. And volatile components means the components which can volatile easily. They can easily convert from liquid state to solid state. So we are talking about binary solution. Binary solution means which contains two components, component 1 and component 2. Here solute denoted by 1, solvent is 2. And when the compound present in the liquid state, it possesses vapor pressure. Let us see definition of vapor pressure. What do you mean by vapor pressure? Vapor pressure means the pressure exerted by vapor form of the liquid over the solution state at normal conditions of atmospheric conditions of temperature and pressure. I am repeating, children. Vapor pressure means the pressure exerted by vapor form of the liquid over the solution under atmospheric conditions of temperature and pressure is called vapor pressure. So here we are talking about vapor pressure of liquid solutions. In that we consider solvent and solute. Both are water nature. So we have to take this both solvent and solute which are water nature in a closed container. We should take the solvent and solute in a closed container. Closed container means there is no exchange of heat content from the system to surroundings. Here solvent and solute both have water nature. So when both components have volatile nature, then they can easily convert from liquid state to solid state. That is called evaporation. And simultaneously, they will come back from gaseous state to liquid state. That is called condensation. That means conversion of liquid state to gaseous state is called evaporation. And again, the liquid droplets which present over the container and they come back to the liquid again. That is called condensation. Here, the rate of evaporation is equal to the rate of condensation. That means number of molecules converting from liquid state to gaseous state is equal to the number of molecules come back from gaseous state to liquid state. This number is same because there is no change in exchange of mass of the components in the closed system. That is why rate of evaporation is equal to the rate of condensation. Why do they changes from one state to another state? Because they are highly volatile nature and they are highly volatile liquid. What do you mean by phenomena of volatility? Volatility means the liquid compounds easily changes into vapor state by absorbing energy from the surroundings. For example, let us consider solute is ethyl alcohol. Ethyl alcohol or spirit. Ethyl alcohol or spirit is an example of volatile solute. Let us say volatile solvent, water. Water is an example of volatile solvent. Let us consider boiling point temperature of tissue. Boiling point temperature of ethyl alcohol is 78.3 degrees Celsius temperature. Around we can take 78 degrees Celsius. And boiling point temperature of water, that is 100 degrees Celsius temperature. Remember children, the liquids which possess volatility, they have low boiling point temperature. Here, boiling point temperature of ethanol or ethyl alcohol or spirit is 78 degrees Celsius and water is 100 degrees Celsius temperature. That's why they have volatile nature, because when they absorb energy from the surroundings, they changes from liquid state to gaseous state. This is called the phenomenon of volatility, and this volatility is based on the boiling point temperature. When the liquids have low boiling point temperature, they can easily volatile. They can easily process volatility phenomena. And here we consider volatile components of solute and solvent in a closed system. Here, when the liquids have volatile nature, they possess vapor pressure. Let us consider vapor pressure of these two components. We consider here solute is component 1, solvent as component 2, or vice versa. So vapor pressure, component 1 children, component 1 and component 2, because we are talking about binary solution children. Binary solution is a solution containing two components. Here component 1 is solute, which has volatile nature. Component 2 is solvent, also has volatile nature. And when they have volatile nature, they possess vapor pressure, partial vapor pressure. Let us consider P1. P1 is the partial vapor pressure of component 1. And P2. P2 is the partial vapor pressure of component 2. And this vapor pressure is related to the mole fraction of the components. Mole fraction of component 1 is Chi1. We have seen mole fraction in session 2. That is previous session we have seen mole fraction. And we had also discussed the concept of mole fraction, methods to express concentration of the solution children. So Chi1 is mole fraction of component 1. And Chi2 is mole fraction of component 2. So Rawls, a French chemist, had given a quantitative relationship between partial vapor pressure of the components and mole fraction of the components of the solution. That is called Rawls law. So Rawls law states that for a solution of volatile components, the partial vapor pressure of each component is directly proportional to its mole fraction of the solution. I am repeating, children. Rawls law states that the partial vapor pressure of each component is directly proportional to the mole fraction of its mole fraction of the components of the solution. That means the mathematical expression of Rawls law is P1 is equal to, let us write here, P1 is directly proportional to chi1, children. Here P1 is partial vapor pressure of component 1 and which is based on the mole fraction of its component 1. So we can write P1 is equal to P1 naught into chi1. Here P1 naught is proportional to constant. That means here P1 naught is called as partial vapor pressure or vapor pressure of pure component 1. Here P1 naught is vapor pressure of pure component 1. P1 naught is vapor pressure of pure component 1. Here P1 is partial vapor pressure of component 1 and chi1 is small fraction of component 1. Similarly, component 2. P2 is directly proportional to the chi2 because Rawls law states that the partial vapor pressure of each component is directly proportional to its mole fraction of the solution. That's why P2 is directly proportional to chi2. P2 is partial vapor pressure of component 2. It is based on the mole fraction. You can write as P2 is equal to P2 naught into chi2. Here I wrote P1. P1 means vapor pressure of pure component 1. P2 means vapor pressure of pure component 2. P2 means vapor pressure of pure component 2 and chi2 is mole fraction of component 2. So this is called Rawls law because Rawls, he was a French chemist. He did many experiments on the vapor pressure of the liquid solution. So he given the relation between vapor pressure of the liquid solution and mole fraction. And he considered that besides Rawls, Dalton also explained the relation between the partial pressure and mole fraction. So according to Dalton's law of partial pressure states that total vapor pressure of the solution is the sum of the partial pressures of the components of the solution. Let us see that, children. Dalton's law of partial pressure. Dalton's law of partial pressure. Dalton's law of partial pressure told that total vapor pressure over the solution. Total vapor pressure over the solution. It is the sum of the partial pressures of the components of the solution. Here P1 has one component and P2 has second component. So total vapor pressure of the components of the solution is equal to the sum of the partial pressures of the components of the solution. Here total pressure Tp is equal to P1 plus P2 because we consider binary solution. This binary solution has two components, solute and solvent, and we know the value of P1. P1 is P1 naught into chi1 and P2 is vapor pressure of component 2, that is equal to P2 naught into chi2. The total vapor pressure is the sum of the partial pressures of the components of the solution. That is equal to, we know that chi1 plus chi2 is equal to 1. It means mole fraction of solute and mole fraction of solvent is equal to 1, because in a solution the mole fractions of solvent and solute is equal to 1. It can be written as mole fraction of solute, that is chi1, and mole fraction of solvent, that is chi2. Sum of the mole fractions of solvent and solute is unity in a solution. It can be written chi1 plus chi2 is equal to 1. So in the place of chi1, you can write chi1 is equal to 1 minus chi2. Chi1 is equal to 1 minus chi2. So in the place of chi1, we can substitute chi2 value. So P1 naught into chi1 means 1 minus chi2 plus P2 naught into chi2. That is equal to P1 naught into 1, P1 naught minus P1 naught into chi2, P1 naught into chi2 plus P2 naught into chi2. Here we can get common chi2 here. That is equal to P1 naught minus plus chi2 into P2 naught minus P1 naught. P2 naught minus P1 naught. So this is the total vapor pressure. Total vapor pressure of two volatile components in the solution, that is equal to sum of the partial pressures of the two components, that is equal to P1 naught plus chi2 into P2 naught minus P1 naught. So total vapor pressure of the components of the solution is directly based on the mole fraction of the any one of the component. It may be based on the mole fraction of the solvent or mole fraction of the solute, and it is also based on the mole fraction of the pure components of the 1 and 2. And in the textbook they have given the graph between the mole fraction and partial vapor pressure. Once you go to the textbook, you can identify the graph between the mole fraction as well as partial vapor pressure of the solvent and solute. So this is nothing but vapor pressure of liquid solution. So we discussed only vapor pressure of liquid solution. Here both solute and solvent have volatile nature. When both solute and solvent have volatile nature, then we can apply here Raoult's law. Raoult's law states that the vapor pressure of the pure component is directly proportional to its mole fraction of the solution. That is called Raoult's law. Based on the Raoult's law, we have considered here. Now let us see the relation between the Raoult's law and Henry's law. Relation between Raoult's law and Henry's law. In earlier session, that means in previous session, we have seen Henry's law. What do you mean by Henry's law? Henry's law states that the partial pressure of the gas in the vapor phase is directly proportional to its mole fraction of the solution. Let us write Henry's law. Henry's law states that the partial pressure of the gas divided by P, the partial pressure of the gas in vapor phase is directly proportional to its mole fraction. So P is directly proportional to chi, because Henry's law explained that amount of gas dissolved in the liquid solvent. That's why it can be written as P is directly proportional to chi. P means partial pressure of the gas in the vapor phase is directly proportional to its mole fraction. So P is equal to KH into chi. What is KH here? KH is Henry's law constant. Henry's law constant. Now let us see Raoult's law. What do you mean by Raoult's law? Raoult's law states that for a solution of volatile liquid, the partial vapor pressure of each component, is directly proportional to its mole fraction. Here, P indicates partial vapor pressure of the component of the solution is directly proportional to its mole fraction. That is equal to P is equal to P naught P1 naught or P2 naught into chi. Where P is partial vapor pressure of the component. P1 naught, vapor pressure of the pure component. It may be solvent or solute. Vapor pressure of the pure component, and chi is mole fraction of the solvent sugar. So when we compare these two equations, Henry's law and Raoult's law, here partial pressure is common, mole fraction is common. Only difference is in case of Henry's law, KH, Henry's law constant is present. In case of Raoult's law, vapor pressure of the pure component is present. This is the relation between Henry's law and Raoult's law. Let's see vapor pressure of solid liquid solution sugar. Earlier we have seen vapor pressure of liquid solution. That means in that both solute and solvent have volatile nature. Now we are talking about vapor pressure of solid liquid solution. Here solute is in solid state and the solvent is in liquid state, because we are talking about liquid solutions. In liquid solutions, solvent is in liquid state. So by non-volatile solute, here solute may or may not be non-volatile nature. Here let us consider solute is a non-volatile solid or is a non-volatile substance. So when a non-volatile solute present in the given solvent, then its vapor pressure decreases, because when we compare the vapor pressure of pure solvent, and we compare the vapor pressure of pure solvent and vapor pressure of solution. What is the solution? Solution is a homogeneous mixture of solvent and solute. Solvent and solute. Here solute has non-volatile nature. That means it cannot easily evaporate from liquid state to gaseous state. Here it's a pure solvent. We have discussed earlier that a solvent has volatile nature. Here it's a solvent, it's a volatile substance, and solute has non-volatile nature. Here, when we compare the vapor pressures of pure solvent and solution, in the closed system, the vapor pressure of pure solvent is more. Here, vapor pressure of pure solvent is more than that of vapor pressure of solution. Here vapor pressure of solution is less. This is because pure solvent contains only solvent molecule which has volatile nature. That's why which easily evaporate from liquid state to gaseous state. It produces vapor pressure easily, because the surface of the liquid molecules, the surface of the pure solvent has only solvent molecules. So when it absorbs energy from the surroundings, it easily escapes to the surroundings. Then it produces vapor pressure easily. But when we compare solution which contains non-volatile solute, the non-volatile solute dissolves in the pure solvent which has less vapor pressure. This is because the surface of the solution is covered by solvent as well as non-volatile solute particles. So the surface of the solution has solvent and solute. Solvent and solute particles. We know that solute has non-volatile nature. That means which cannot changes from liquid state to gaseous state. That's why it is remains in the solution. And when the solute particles present over the surface of the solution, this solute particles decrease the or lower the vapor pressure of the solution. That's why when we compare the vapor pressure of the solvent and the solution, the solvent vapor pressure is more than that of the vapor pressure of the solution. One more point, children. The vapor pressure of the solution is independent of the nature of the substance. Let us say when we add 10 grams of urea or 10 grams of sodium chloride or 10 grams of potassium oxide. When we add any kind of substance, it may be sodium chloride or potassium oxide or sugar or glucose, whatever it may be, but its vapor pressure is less. So it is independent of the nature of the substance present in the given solution. But when we compare the vapor pressure of solvent and the solution, solvent has more vapor pressure than that of the solution, because the surface of the pure solvent is covered by the solvent molecule. That's why it easily changes from liquid state to gaseous state. In case of solution, some of the particles are covered by some of the solute particles are present over the surface of the solution, then which decreases the vapor pressure of the resultant solution. Now, when we apply Raoult's law to this situation, this Raoult's law can be applicable to when a non-volatile solute present in the given solution. When a non-volatile solute is present in the given solution, then Raoult's law can be defined as the vapor pressure of the component of each solution. Here we are talking about vapor pressure of the component of the solution which has volatile nature. That means it can be defined as vapor pressure of the volatile component of the solution is directly proportional to its mole fraction of the solution. It can be written as P. P is vapor pressure of the component. Remember, children, this component has volatile nature. So let us consider here solvent as volatile nature. It can be denoted as 1. Component 1 as solvent and component 2 as solute. Solute is non-volatile component, solvent as volatile component. Then Raoult's law can be defined as the vapor pressure of the volatile component is directly proportional to its mole fraction of the solution. So P is directly proportional to chi. Here we should not talk about vapor pressure of solute because solute has non-volatile nature. So we should not talk about non-volatile solute because non-volatile solute doesn't change to vapor state. That's why it cannot possess vapor pressure. That's why in case of non-volatile solute present in the given solution, then Raoult's law can be defined as the partial vapor pressure of the component which is volatile component. The partial vapor pressure of the volatile component is directly proportional to its mole fraction. That is equal to P is equal to P1 naught into chi. Remember, children, this is partial vapor pressure of solvent and P1 naught is vapor pressure of the pure component. This is chi. Chi means mole fraction of the solvent. This is partial vapor pressure of solvent and chi is mole fraction. Chi is mole fraction of solvent. So in this case we should not consider solute because solute has non-volatile nature. That's why in case of non-volatile solute present in the given solvent, then Raoult's law can be defined as P is equal to P1 naught into chi, where P is equal to vapor pressure of pure solvent and P1 naught is vapor pressure of pure solvent. Here P is vapor pressure of partial vapor pressure of the solvent and P1 naught is vapor pressure of pure component 1. Vapor pressure of pure component 1, that is solvent here, and chi is mole fraction of the solvent. So this is Rao's law in case of non-volatile solute is present in the given solvent. But before we have seen vapor pressure of liquid solution. In that we have discussed that when solute and solvent both have volatile nature, then we have considered both the components. P1 is equal to P1 naught into Chi1. That is for vapor pressure, partial vapor pressure of component 1. And P2 is equal to P2 naught into Chi2. That is vapor pressure of component 2. Because in case of liquid solution, both solute and solvent have volatile nature. But here, non-volatile solute, when a non-volatile solute is present in the given solvent, then only the solvent has volatile nature. So only solvent has volatile nature. Then we have to consider vapor pressure only for solvent molecule. That can be written as P is equal to P1 naught into Chi. Or you can write as P1 is equal to P1 naught into Chi1. The P1 is partial vapor pressure of solvent and P1 naught is vapor pressure of pure component or vapor pressure of pure solvent, and Chi1 is mole fraction of solvent. When we plot the graph between partial pressure and mole fraction, it can be something like this. We should take partial pressure, vapor pressure on x-axis, mole fraction on y-axis. Then a graph is passes through the origin. We get a straight line. The straight line is passes through the origin. The graph we get something like this. This is the relation between vapor pressure and mole fraction. When the mole fraction of the component increases, or when the mole fraction of the solvent increases, then vapor pressure of the solution also increases. So this is vapor pressure of liquid solution, vapor pressure of liquid solutions, and vapor pressure of solid liquid solution. And in previous session we have discussed that vapor pressure of gas liquid solution, that is nothing but Henry's law. So we have seen that in previous session. That's why now we are not discussing. So this is today's session children, vapor pressure of liquid solutions. I hope you understand today's session. We'll meet in next session. Thank you.